Hello, this is Angela from Natural Living Alchemy. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making a rollerball for headaches that offers a soothing aroma and promotes relaxation. This blend is made with 4 different essential oils as well as a menthol infused carrier oil. Now, during the notes and substitutions portions of this video, I will be sharing some other suggested essential oils that you could put into this blend if you don't like the ones I've suggested or you can't use them for whatever reason. Now, before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you that I am not a doctor. None of what is on this channel would be considered medical advice. It's here for education and entertainment purposes only, and it is up to you to talk to your healthcare professionals before following anything that I say. So, I had just mentioned that our carrier oil is going to be infused with menthol. Let's talk about menthol crystals a little bit. What are they? Well, it is a concentrated form of menthol, which is the natural substance derived from mint plants, but predominantly from the spearmint and the peppermint varieties. It is known for its cooling and soothing effects, and it is used in cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, food, as well as in aromatherapy. So, how are they extracted? Well, it is extracting the mint oil from the leaves through a process of steam distillation, and this process separates the essential oil from the plant material. And then the extracted oil is then cooled down and allowed to undergo a crystallization. And this is when the menthol separates from the oil and forms this crystalline structure. Now, there's a purification step that happens next, where the crystals are then filtered to remove any remaining impurities or oils. So some benefits that you could get from using menthol crystals would be it's going to provide a cooling and soothing effect to the skin. And this occurs because the menthols act on a certain receptor that we have, and this is the same receptor that's activated by a cold breeze or when you just touch something cold. Now, while it doesn't actually lower skin temperature, it does trick the nervous system into sensing cold. Menthol crystals can improve respiratory health by opening up the airways, providing relief from nasal congestion, cough, as well as colds. It can provide mental clarity and focus by stimulating the central nervous system. It also holds antibacterial and antifungal properties when applied topically. We do have a dermal max, which means the maximum amount that is allowed on your skin. And this is going to depend on the application, but it runs anywhere from 0.2 to 10%. So the dosage for pain relief is 2.5 to 10%, applied no more than 3 to 4 times per day. We do have a couple safety precautions that we would want to take into consideration. You don't want to get this in your eye, not the dust, not the crystals, not anything. And if you do happen to get it in your eyes, don't flush it with water. You're going to want to flush it with a carrier oil. You're also going to want to make sure that you don't apply this on any mucous membranes or broken skin. And you don't really want to use the crystals directly on the skin anyways. You would want to be wearing gloves when handling the crystals. I know I didn't a second ago because I forgot to grab them. And that's okay. Do better than me. And the last thing of our safety precautions is you just want to use minimal amount and then just increase as required. Menthol crystals are soluble in oil, alcohol, and minimally in water. And the way that you would use them in a different formulation, if you weren't wanting to just make an infused oil like this, is menthol crystals go into the oil phase or the cool down phase of any of your preparations. Next, let's just briefly touch on the essential oils that are going to be going into this blend, and I have 4. So the first one is peppermint. Now, our therapeutic benefits as to why we might want to reach for peppermint. So it is an analgesic that supports with aches and pains as well as helping to calm muscle spasm. It is a decongestant, helping to clear congestion from the system. Now, it also works as a stimulant, helping to stimulate mental clarity as well as focus. And it also has some diaphoretic properties, helping to cool down body temperature. Safety precautions that you would want to consider when using peppermint essential oil. You want to avoid using it around children's faces. It is contraindicated if you have G6PD deficiency. If you know what that is, you know what that is. It can be problematic for some people with GERD. And I would exercise caution if you are experiencing an asthmatic flare. It might open things up too much for you. Now, if you get peppermint in your eyes, again, same with the crystals, you don't want to rinse them with water. That will make it worse. Just flush the eyes with carrier oil instead. And peppermint essential oil should always be diluted 50-50 with a carrier oil prior to topical application. Peppermint essential oil is suitable for direct inhalation, diffusion, topical application, as well as ingestion. But we do have a dermal max of 5.4%, which means that you should have no more than a total of 5.4% in any formulation that is going to go directly onto the skin. Our next essential oil is eucalyptus. Now, our therapeutic benefits here, it works as an analgesic as well as having some inflammation modulating properties, just helping with aches and pains. It is an antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, as well as having antiseptic properties. It is an antispasmodic, helping to open the airways, releasing congestion, and it can also be used as an insecticide. Our safety precautions, you want to keep this away from infants and young children's faces as well. And it should be diluted 50-50 with a carrier oil prior to topical application. It is suitable for direct inhalation, diffusion, and topical applications. Now, the only species, the Eucalyptus globulus, is the only form of eucalyptus that is suitable for ingestion. And we have a dermal max of 20%. Our next essential oil is lavender. Now, our therapeutic benefits here is lavender works as an antidepressant, an anxiolytic, or anti-anxiety. And this just means it can help promote a sense of calm and balance. And this essential oil can be beneficial for shock or panic attacks, or when you just need to move stagnant energy and you need help letting go. These can also be helpful if you experience any sort of adverse PMS symptoms or nervous system tension. Eucalyptus also works as a sedative, and it can help address insomnia and restlessness. It has an analgesic property, helping to address bruises, burns, and even insect bites. And it also holds antifungal, antiseptic, and antibacterial properties. Our safety precautions, there's not really many that are known. So this is one of the only essential oils that can be used neat or directly on the skin without being diluted, but it could still irritate the skin, so I would play it safe and dilute it. And we have a dermal max of nothing, so there hasn't really been any maximum that they would say you would want to avoid. And lavender essential oil is suitable for direct inhalation, diffusion, as well as topical applications. Our final essential oil to go into this blend is arnica. Now, our therapeutic benefits here, it works as an analgesic with inflammation modulating properties, which can help relieve muscle pain and swelling, as well as just helping to soothe migraines as well as headaches. It's an antimicrobial, and it can help protect against infection as well. And it's a circulatory stimulant that can also help boost the immune system. Now, we do have some safety precautions with arnica that I just want to go over with you. So you would want to avoid it if you have an allergy to ragweed or the daisy family of plants. It is not safe to use on pregnant or breastfeeding people. You don't want to use it on anybody under the age of 5. And you don't want to apply it on the eyes, around the eyes, or on any mucous membranes or open skin. You would want to avoid prolonged use, as skin irritation may occur even when you're following the proper dilution ratio. And it should be diluted at a 30-70, so 30% arnica to 70% carrier oil. Now, you can also purchase arnica oil that is already diluted. Now, what I do find interesting is I can't actually find in any of places that I'm doing my research a dermal max for arnica. So if you happen to know what that is, go ahead and throw that in the comment box below this video, and just let's help each other out. Now, arnica essential oil is suitable for topical applications only. It is not suitable for inhalation. So if you were wanting to use this blend, I would not use it as is in a diffuser, Okay, use it in your rollerball, that's fine. But if you were wanting to diffuse a blend for headaches, I would just go into, when I go over some of the other essential oils that you might want to consider using, you might just want to throw that into the blend instead if you are wanting to use it in a essential oil diffuser. I have 3 different suggestions for carrier oils that you're going to choose, and just choose the carrier oil of your preference. So you could use sweet almond oil, and that's great for mature, dried, chapped, and sensitive skin, but you don't want to use it on anybody who has a tree nut allergy. Jojoba oil, which is the one that I used in my blend, it is good for all skin types, and it's close to the natural sebum found on the skin. Now, you would want to use caution if you are allergic to latex, as it does have a similar makeup. And our last carrier oil that you might want to choose from is fractionated coconut oil, and this is great for mature and dry skin. Now, fractionated coconut oil doesn't actually go rancid, nor does it leave a greasy residue on the skin, so that's just something to consider. So to put together this formulation, you're going to need a few pieces of equipment. You are going to need a digital scale, a heat-proof bowl, a mortar and pestle, a glass rod for stirring, a little funnel, definitely some gloves, and some eye protection. And I might also consider putting on, I like to put my full face respirator on when I am working with the menthol crystals, because you do have to grind them up, and you just want to make sure that they are not going into the eyes by accident or you're inhaling too much up the nose. Okay, so definitely get your proper PPE. And you're going to need an empty dropper bottle to put your essential oil blend in, as well as an empty bottle to put your infused oil. And then you're just going to need an empty roller ball. Okay, and I'll show you how do we put all this together. So before we head into the lab to make up our oil, mix up our blend, you have an option as to how much menthol you are wanting to infuse in your carrier oil. So in the video, when I made mine, I went with an 8% menthol to 92% oil. I have made this blend with a 5% menthol to 95% carrier oil. I just wanted to make it just a little bit stronger, but start where you want and you can definitely go up from there. So let's head into the lab and we are going to make our oil and we are going to make our essential oil blend, and then I'm going to show you how we put it all together. All right, so before we begin, we are going to spray all of our surfaces and equipment down with 70% rubbing alcohol just to ensure everything is nice and clean. So let's begin by weighing out our menthol crystals. So I'm using 8% menthol crystals, so I'm going to be weighing out 8 grams. If you are doing a 5% menthol crystals, you would just weigh out 5 grams. Once we have all of these measured out, we are going to have to crush them down. So I like to do that by using just a mortar and pestle. But if you don't have one, you could just use a different way to crush everything down. So we're just going to put the crystals in and then just work them until it's no longer crystals, but instead a nice white powder. And you're just going to be careful not to get this in your eyes. And the reason that I keep warning you to not get it in your eyes is because I've done it and it hurts. So I would just rather you avoid that unnecessary pain. Next, we are going to weigh out our oil. So I've chosen jojoba oil, but you can use any of the suggested carrier oils. And I'm going to be weighing out 92 grams or 92%. Again, if you were just doing the 5% menthol, you would then add 95% of your carrier oil, as long as it just equals 100. Once you have your oil all weighed out, it's just time to add the crystals. and stir until combined, and then just throw it on the heat and stir it periodically just until everything is nicely melted and combined. So once you can no longer see any of the menthol powder, it will all be dissolved. You will just need to remove it from the heat, and then once it is cooled down, put it in an appropriate storage container and be sure to label it with the percentage of menthol and the carrier oil chosen. Now let's mix up our essential oil blend. So I like to put the bottle directly on a scale and then just add my individual oils right into the jar. So for this one, I'm going to be using 35% peppermint, 30% eucalyptus. Now be sure to always hit tare on your scale between the addition of each oil, just to make sure that you have the appropriate amounts. We're also going to add in 20% lavender and 15% arnica. Once all of your oils are in your bottle, you're just going to replace the lid and give it a good shake just to mix everything up, and it is ready to be used. So now that we have our infused carrier oil and we have our essential oil blend, let's put it all together. Now, I just want to talk about these little bottles for a second before I talk about the rollerball. So I found these empty essential oil bottles on Amazon that have a little dropper in them. Now I will have these linked in the description box below the video in case you want to pick some of these up for yourself. Some other things that you will find in there are just links to some other products so that you can make this for yourself at home. Now I will have the link to where I purchased my menthol crystals. I am going to ask that you just don't buy yours off Amazon. You don't have to go through the same place that I did, but I just have not had the best of luck with a lot of ingredients from Amazon, these crystals being one of them. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your empty roller ball. Now it's going to come with this piece. It's also going to come with the ball piece, and it's going to come with the lid. Now the kit that I got, that I will throw that in the description box, also came, I'm not quite sure how to use this, so I feel I'm going to make more of a mess, but I believe it's just supposed to help you put this little piece on and maybe even take it off to refill it later. It also comes with this little funnel, but I prefer just to use kind of like these bigger ones, and then I can just wash them out more easily. I have a hard time washing just these smaller plastic ones. Okay, enough of that. So we are going to take our essential oil blend, and we want to put 4 to 6 drops in our roller bottle. Put it in the middle. Then we are just going to add our infused oil over top. Oh, I'm not sure who closed this bottle, but I'm not sure it was the same person trying to open it. Okay. Now I do have a suggestion when you are purchasing your essential oil roller bottles. I did have these black ones. These are very, very difficult to see how much product you actually have in it, and more than once I have put too much in and ended up spilling it over. So as much as I think that the black ones are pretty, the blue ones are a little bit easier to see through and therefore could just potentially have less waste, but it's up to you. Then we just want to put enough oil in to fill it. Okay. Before I end up spilling stuff, let's put some lids on. Okay, so next you're just going to want to take the little roller part and you want to push it in until you hear the little snap. Put on your lid, and as you can kind of see, our essential oils, you might not be able to see it, but the essential oils are just kind of on the bottom. You just want to shake it up. And then everything will be mixed thoroughly. I like to give these just a little shake before I use them. But that's, now you've made your roller ball. So how you use it is you would just want to roll it on your headache, or on your temples. I like to just kind of draw a line between and just kind of let that absorb. And you want to repeat it as necessary. Now, depending on how strong of a concentration of your infused menthol oil that you made, you want to maybe caution, you don't want to use it more than 4 times in one day. Okay, if you are wanting to use it more than that, maybe just skip out on the infused oil and you can just use a regular non-infused oil and still have some wonderful benefits that can help support you during a headache. And then lastly, we just want to throw a label on here so we know exactly what it is. And I just like to write the menthol percentage on my label. Let's go over now some different notes and possible substitutions. So you don't want to use this blend on any child under the age of 5, okay? There's other ones that you could definitely reach for that are a lot safer. And again, don't use jojoba oil if you have an allergy to latex, and don't use the almond oil if you have an allergy to tree nuts. So some possible substitutions that you might want to consider would be rosemary. And rosemary can actually help bring cortisol levels down within the body. Chamomile. Chamomile has some calming properties that can also help modulate inflammation as well as soothe sore joints and muscles. Frankincense can help quiet the mind and bring tranquility as well as peace. Lemongrass is used to relieve pain, pressure, and tension that can be brought about by a headache. Basil. This has analgesic properties that work great for headaches that are stress or tension related. And orange. This holds analgesic as well as inflammation modulating properties. Just a quick recap again, if you were wanting to use this in a essential oil diffuser, take out the arnica and just throw in any of those other ones that I had just suggested. So why don't you go ahead and comment down below and let me know what other rollerball formulations are you interested in making. And don't forget to hit the like button if you like this video and share it with anyone else who you think might enjoy it. Consider subscribing to the channel so that we can spend more time together and that you don't miss future videos. I just want to say though, thanks for stopping by today, and I'll see you next time.